Imagine this: you're stranded in a place where massive creatures roam free, each one more dangerous than the last. There's no way back, and every moment is a fight for survival. What would you do if you were suddenly thrown into such a world? That's the terrifying yet thrilling premise of Monster Hunter 2020. And today, we're diving headfirst into everything this movie brings to the table, both the good and the not so good. Welcome to this in-depth review of Monster Hunter, a film that brings the popular video game franchise to life with eye-popping visuals, jaw-dropping monsters, and action sequences that will have you on the edge of your seat. Whether you're a fan of the game or just an action movie lover looking for your next thrill, there's plenty here to dissect. In this review, we're going to look beyond the surface and explore what makes Monster Hunter tick. We'll break down its explosive visual effects, analyze the performances of the cast, particularly the leads, Milla Jovovich and Tony Jaa, and see how the film's world building stacks up against other similar action fantasy movies. But don't worry, this isn't just a straight-up praise fest. We'll also take a critical look at where the movie falls short. From pacing issues to shallow character development, there's a lot to unpack here. So, if you're curious whether Monster Hunter is a must-watch or just another forgettable action flick, stay tuned. I'll give you my honest opinion on whether it's worth your time and money. Alright, let's jump right into it. Monster Hunter is a movie that starts with a bang, literally. From the very beginning, you're thrust into a world of chills, where a danger is always just around the corner. And that's exactly what makes this movie such a spectacle to watch. But does it have more to offer than just flashy effects and high-stakes action? Let's take a closer look at the story and how it sets the stage for everything that follows. Monster Hunter opens with a gripping setup. Captain Natalie Artemis, played by Milla Jovovich, is a skilled military leader with a strong, determined team of soldiers. Their mission is straightforward search and rescue, but everything goes sideways when a massive storm appears out of nowhere, dragging them into an entirely new world. This isn't just any world though. This is a harsh, brutal environment where colossal monsters rule the land. These creatures aren't just big, they're terrifyingly powerful, with scales tougher than steel and abilities that make them apex predators. From the moment they arrive, Artemis and her team are thrust into survival mode. What they encounter in this new world is nothing short of terrifying monsters the size of skyscrapers that seem unstoppable. The film wastes no time showing us just how dangerous this place is. Within minutes, her entire team is wiped out by a creature known as the Diablos, a massive horned beast with deadly speed and strength. Artemis quickly realizes that brute force won't be enough to survive. She needs to adapt to this world's rulers and fast. That's when she meets the hunter, played by Tony Jaa. He's a native of this world, skilled in the art of tracking and killing these deadly monsters. Together, they form an uneasy alliance, relying on each other's strengths to fight their way through the unforgiving landscape. What's interesting about Monster Hunter is that it doesn't rely on a complex storyline to keep the audience engaged. The plot is relatively straightforward: get back home and survive, but it's the execution that makes it stand out. The film's focus is more on the action and world building than on intricate storytelling. Director Paul W.S. Anderson, known for the Resident Evil franchise, clearly had a vision to create a spectacle that stays true to the video game's essence while delivering a cinematic experience that grips viewers from start to finish. What really drives the movie forward is the constant sense of danger. From the towering monsters to the deadly environments, Artemis and the hunter must stay on their toes at all times. The stakes are high, and the film does a good job of making the audience feel the tension. At its core, Monster Hunter is about survival. Artemis isn't just fighting monsters, she's fighting to stay alive, find a way back to her world, and understand the rules of this strange new place. As the story progresses, we see a character evolve from a by-the-book soldier into a fierce, adaptive warrior. Her dynamic with the hunter also evolves as they learn to trust one another despite their different backgrounds and languages. The movie doesn't get bogged down in dialogue or unnecessary exposition. Instead, it focuses on the action and the spectacle. That's both a strength and a weakness, depending on what you're looking for in a movie. If you're expecting deep character development or a complex plot, Monster Hunter might not be for you. But if you're here for giant monsters, epic battles, and stunning visual effects, then you're in for a treat. What Monster Hunter truly excels at is creating a visually immersive experience. The film's visual effects are, without a doubt, its strongest asset. From the moment you lay eyes on the first towering monster, you can tell that the filmmakers spared no expense in bringing these creatures to life. Whether it's the sheer scale of the beasts or the intricate details in their design, the monsters feel real, like they could step off the screen at any moment. One of the standout creatures is the Diablos, a massive horned monster that bursts through the sand with terrifying speed. The way it's animated, with every movement feeling weighty and powerful, makes it a truly formidable opponent for Artemis and her team. You can see the effort put into making each monster distinct, from the leathery textures of their skin to the way they interact with the environment. Another notable monster is the Rathalos, a dragon-like creature that dominates the skies. Its fire-breathing attacks and massive wingspan make for some visually stunning action sequences. Speaking of action sequences, the choreography of the fight scenes is another highlight. Milla Jovovich is no stranger to action roles, and her performance as Captain Artemis is as physical and intense as you'd expect. From hand-to-hand combat to dodging the massive claws of monsters, Jovovich sells the danger of each encounter with her athleticism and determination. Her character's evolution from a tactical soldier to a resourceful survivor is made all the more believable by the sheer physicality she brings to the role. And then there's Tony Jaa as the hunter. Known for his martial arts prowess, Jaa brings his own unique flavor to the action scenes. His character uses a mix of traditional weapons like swords and bows combined with swift, precise movements to take down the monsters. Jaa's agility and skill in close quarters combat are on full display here, adding an extra layer of excitement to the battles. What's interesting is the contrast between Artemis' modern military tactics and the hunter's more traditional, almost primal fighting style. This creates a dynamic and visually engaging partnership as the two characters learn to work together. The film also benefits from the work of director Paul W.S. Anderson. Known for his work on the Resident Evil series, Anderson has a knack for blending action with science fiction and fantasy elements. Here he focuses on world building, crafting a harsh and dangerous landscape that feels alive with threats at every corner. The sweeping desert vistas, dense forests, and rocky terrains give a sense of isolation and danger, making it clear that this world is hostile to anyone who dares to step foot in it. The cinematography by Glenn MacPherson adds to this sense of immersion. His use of wide shots captures the vastness of the landscape, making the characters seem small and vulnerable in comparison to their surroundings. The close-ups during the action scenes keep the tension high, especially when the characters are face-to-face with the monsters. The camera work is fluid, keeping the audience engaged without feeling dizzy or lost in the chaos. This balance is crucial in a movie that relies so heavily on spectacle. Another strength of Monster Hunter is its pacing during the action scenes. The movie knows when to ramp up the intensity and when to give the audience a breather. The quieter moments, where Artemis and the hunter learn from each other and bond over their shared goal of survival, provide a nice contrast to the high-octane battles. This balance helps to maintain the film's momentum, ensuring that the audience isn't overwhelmed by constant action. The screenplay, while simple, is effective in delivering what the movie promises: a thrilling, monster-filled adventure. Anderson keeps the dialogue to a minimum, allowing the visuals and action to tell the story. This choice works well within the context of the movie, as it emphasizes the raw, primal nature of the world these characters are trapped in. The language barrier between Artemis and the hunter adds an interesting dynamic, forcing them to rely on non-verbal communication, which strengthens their bond over the course of the film. One of the most subtle strengths of the movie is its sound design. The roars of the monsters, the crackling of fire, and the rumbling of the earth during the action sequences all add to the immersive experience. The sound team did an excellent job of making the world feel alive and dangerous. Each creature has its own unique sound, which makes their appearances all the more menacing. Even the quieter moments are enhanced by ambient sounds, like the wind howling across the desert or the creaking of old bones in the background. As for the score, composer Paul Haslinger provides a driving, intense soundtrack that complements the film's action-packed tone. The music ramps up during the battles, adding to the adrenaline of the moment, but it also pulls back during the quieter scenes, allowing the tension to build naturally. The score is a crucial part of what makes Monster Hunter an engaging viewing experience from start to finish. Now, while Monster Hunter has plenty of strengths, it's not without its flaws. The biggest issue with the movie is its lack of character development. While Jovovich and Jha give strong performances, their characters are relatively one-dimensional. We don't learn much about Artemis beyond her role as a soldier, and the hunter remains a mysterious figure throughout most of the film. There's little backstory or personal growth for either character, which makes it hard to connect with them on a deeper level. This lack of depth is particularly noticeable in the supporting cast. Artemis' team of soldiers is quickly introduced and just as quickly wiped out, leaving little time to care about their fate. This feels like a missed opportunity, as more time spent developing these characters could have added emotional weight to the story. Instead, the film focuses almost entirely on the action, which, while exciting, leaves the characters feeling somewhat hollow. Another issue is the film's pacing during the non-action scenes. While the action is well paced, the slower moments can sometimes drag. There are a few scenes where the film feels like it's stalling for time, particularly in the middle of the story. These scenes could have been tightened up to keep the momentum going. Finally, for fans of the Monster Hunter video games, there may be some disappointment in how the film handles the lore and mechanics of the game. While the movie does a good job of capturing the spirit of the games, it doesn't dive deeply into the rich world building that the games are known for. The movie stays more on the surface level, focusing on the action and spectacle rather than exploring the intricacies of the Monster Hunter universe. In conclusion, Monster Hunter is a visually stunning, action-packed adventure that delivers on its promise of giant monsters and epic battles. If you're looking for a movie that will keep you entertained with thrilling action sequences and jaw-dropping visual effects, this is definitely worth a watch. However, if you're hoping for a deep, character-driven story, you might be left wanting more. The film excels in creating an immersive, dangerous world, but it falls short in developing its characters and exploring its lore. That said, Monster Hunter is still an enjoyable ride, especially for fans of action fantasy films. With strong performances from Milla Jovovich and Tony Jaa, along with some of the most impressive creature designs in recent memory, this movie is a solid entry in the action genre. So, if you're in the mood for some monster slaying fun, grab some popcorn, sit back, and enjoy the ride.